to the Officer Tatum Show. Mom Donnie picked another woke sheriff. And actually, I know this kid a little bit. We used to go back and forth. He wrote a book about how NYPD is racist, which is insane to me. But, one day I'm going to give him his opportunity to come on this show, if he wants to talk about why he's not a racist and why he should be the sheriff. And we know when Mom Donnie picked him, it was a plan anyway. Also, we're going to skip the Graham situation. Interview Cam Higby about the attack. We're going to talk a little bit about Black Line. We're going to talk a little bit about his experience after he obviously got attacked feloniously on camera. And for some reason, the cops never really do anything about it. It's a shame. We had these young people that are losing their minds at the trampoline park. Why are young black people acting like this? And don't give me that, it ain't just black people. Show me another video. And we'll get to that. Atlanta stabbing, we're going to talk about that. A young or older lady gets killed on the train by another black man. Black community is not outraged at all, that I know of. Before we get to any of that, there's a young teen that was killed for his actions in the store. The store owner was deemed not guilty. We're going to talk about it on the Officer Tatum Show.
I want everybody in this room to have that same spirit, that same identity carried in your life.
Make sure that you go through life and find your purpose.
And we don't do this just to get a pat on the back. We do it because we came here to win.
And it starts with you understanding that God has a purpose for you.
This is the time to be more bold than ever before.
We're all Americans at the end of the day, and we should love one another. We should be focused on what's right for our country. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. I misspoke. I still want to talk about Graham Plattner because that fool is an idiot and he got a Nazi tattoo on his chest or something crazy. And the left, that's y'all people, bro. You can't name a conservative that got a Nazi tattoo on his chest. But anyway, before we get to any of that, I want to start out with the first story, which is of the teen who was killed. And it's a controversy because the teen is black and the person who killed him is not black. But obviously there was a trial, there was a court hearing, and the person who took the life of this teen was found not guilty in court. We're going to talk about it. We're going to explore it because this was a viral story that I saw, and I want to give my perspective as a former law enforcement officer. Wrote a clip.
First thing on Friday morning, the prosecution is expected to rest its case in the murder trial of Rick Chow. He is accused of killing 14-year-old Cyrus Carmack Belton at Chow's gas station in Columbia exactly 3 years ago today.
Hours ago, jurors heard from the person who performed the autopsy on the victim, and for the first time, the public got to see surveillance video which showed what happened inside the gas station that day. Our Kiki Gushu has a recap of today's key moments.
For the first time, jurors and the public got to see what took place inside the Shell gas station on Park Lane Road in the minutes before Cyrus Carmack Belton was killed in May of 2023. The video shows Belton taking water bottles out of a cooler, then immediately putting them back in, as prosecutors have said he did all along. He can be heard being confronted by Rick Chow's wife and son about the water bottles and denying he took them.
Time out. You know when they say, they always following us around the store because I'm black. Because y'all in the store doing this. Chinese people ain't in the store doing this. Y'all in the store doing this, man. How do you know, Mr. Tatum? When I was young, I was stealing out of the store too. And I wonder why these white folks see young black kids with hoodies on come in the store and they like following you around to make sure you don't steal a product that they work hard to produce, and that's how they make a living. We were in there stealing bags of potato chips in the back talking about, I don't even want nothing from here. Trying to say it loud enough so the clerk can hear us because we don't want nothing, we gonna leave. No, we came in there, we put the bag crunching in the hoodie. Man, they just didn't want to get us in trouble and they let us go with it. Anyway, finish.
And pursued out of the store by Rick Chow and his son. Prosecutors argued the store's camera system provided more than enough information for law enforcement to identify Cyrus without anyone chasing him.
Jessica Jordan, do you think it would be you would have some tools to work with if you had gotten a call that this guy, this boy right here, had stolen, do you think you would have some tools to help identify him
Yes,
and investigate whether or not he had stolen water?
yes.
Do you feel confident law enforcement could have handled this?
Absolutely.
But the defense spent much of the afternoon focusing on Cyrus's actions that night.
So this young man went into the store with no money, an empty book bag, and a loaded firearm, and you're telling this jury there was nothing suspicious about
Time
it.
out. A loaded firearm? What is a kid 14 years old doing with a loaded gun? And then you wonder why he ended up how he ended up. Roll the clip.
Well, we don't know they didn't have any money on him at all. There was no money found on him.
Jurors also heard from Dr. Amy Durso, the forensic pathologist who performed Cyrus's autopsy. She walked jurors through the bullet's path through his body, using x-rays and a courtroom demonstration to explain what positioning would be consistent with the trajectory she observed.
Would you expect this trajectory, would it be consistent with somebody running away in a runner's stance with their back directly towards you?
Yes.
Prosecutors asked if it would have been possible for Cyrus to have been turned around pointing a weapon. She said no. The defense has claimed Cyrus pointed the gun at Chow and his son, and Rick fired in self-defense. Earlier, jurors heard more eyewitness testimony about the moments after Cyrus Carmack Belton was shot. Jasmine Broadwater told jurors she was driving near the scene when she heard a gunshot and saw Cyrus on the ground.
My aunt said, Jazz, he just shot that boy. You need to call the police. We're both about to call them, so we both put on our cell phones. We called. My aunt said, I just want to make sure we're seeing what we see. So we drove out real slow, and we still seen Cyrus on the ground. Looked like he was trying to push himself up, like how somebody's doing push-ups, but they're shaking really bad.
Another witness, Devontae Bryant, described watching Cyrus run, stumble, and try to regain his balance as Rick Chow and his son followed behind him.
Right, so he maybe took a step or two after that, then that's when the shot went off.
The defense got into a back and forth with that witness, claiming he's changed his story from what he said that night.
Do you remember telling the officer on the body footage that you watched the shot through your car mirror, through your rearview mirror?
No,
You do not remember that?
no,
And if I was to find testimony or anything, you would dispute saying that to anyone that day?
I don't remember that.
Is it possible you could have said that?
I don't remember that at all.
The state did not formally rest its case Thursday, but prosecutors told the court they expect to do so Friday morning before the defense begins presenting its witnesses.
Now, I want to point this out to you. It's kind of interesting that this news clip, they kind of only show the prosecution's perspective instead of showing more of the defense perspective, because that gives you the idea that the prosecution had more evidence. No, they did not. We're going to see here soon what the verdict ended up being. But you have a young man that had no business stealing anything from anybody's store. That's the first part of how you messed up. Now, when you get shot, whether it's justified or not, you started the momentum in the wrong direction of stealing with a loaded gun. What was he going to do with the loaded gun if confronted in the store? So it's not out of the realm of possibility that you're running with a loaded gun, you're stealing, and when they catch up to you, you try to defend yourself or try to shoot them. That makes more sense than them just running and shooting them in the back for no reason. Okay, let's listen to the verdict.
Indictment number 2023-GS40-07440. State of South Carolina, County of Richland versus Chike Rick Chow. We, the jury, unanimously find the defendant, Chike Rick Chow, as to the charge of murder, not guilty. Fine number 302, foreperson, June the 1st, 2026. Madam Forelady, was this your verdict and the verdict of the entire jury?
Yes, ma'am, it was.
Thank you.
All right, let's go to clip 303.
The anger is palpable tonight. You can feel it, you can touch it, because people saw a child that looked like their own, that did nothing wrong. A child that all the witnesses described had fear in his eyes when he left the store.
Time out. You better stop. This is why people don't respect these people. Brother I understand you're the attorney or whatever the case may be, your representative for the family or whatever the case may be, but I don't want to hear you tell me he didn't do nothing wrong. The boy stole from a store as a 14-year-old kid with a loaded gun. And when they came to confront him, he took off running. He had no business doing none of that stuff he did. Quit trying to act like this was a 14-year-old boy minding his business, drinking the iced tea, and some racist Chinese people just killed him for no reason. The boy had a gun. How do you get to the point as a 14-year-old boy carrying a loaded gun around with you, stealing from stores? I don't want to hear he didn't do nothing wrong. You could say that they were wrong, but to say he did nothing wrong is crazy. Finish it.
The run as two grown men chased him down over a football field and shot him dead. This should not happen. This makes us feel as if our children don't matter, and they do. This makes us feel like Cyrus's life did not matter, and it did. What you see tonight is going to be the anger, and what we ask is that that anger not turn into anything else but words, to go online, to talk about it, to discuss it, but not to act like what people in their evil minds think that we are.
Time out.
We are
Not
certainly-
act like Cyrus. Is that what you're saying? Not act like Cyrus. Meaning that this kid turned a situation into a violent situation. He's sitting in the store lying and saying, I didn't do nothing. I didn't do. And then when they come out to confront him, he runs. Why? But instead of you grown men and you brothers supporting that kid and teaching him right from wrong, you wait till he's dead to then complain. Finish the clip.
Better than that. Cyrus was better than that. His family is better than that. It's unfortunate that this was the jury's verdict. We have no choice but to accept it, but we don't disagree. But we don't agree. There is no way that a child who did nothing wrong, who is shot in his back, how that jury can justify that verdict. I've been practicing law for almost 30 years. I've never seen anything like this. I don't understand it. I'm at a loss to explain it to his father, Troy, standing beside me. I'm at a loss to explain it to his mother, who couldn't take it and had to leave. I'm at a loss to explain it to his family, because I too don't understand it.
No, time out. Hey, put Troy on the mic. Get him on the mic. Put him on the mic. I want to hear what he had to say about his 14-year-old boy with a gun in his hand, stealing from the store. You dressed, you got your suit on, you're doing all this, but where were you at when your son was running around the streets with a loaded gun in his hand, stealing from the store? That's the part that bothers me consistently about these topics. Y'all love to get on these press conferences. Y'all love to go and cry me a river and the white man bad and people like us don't get treated right. But you fail to prevent your son. I'm assuming that he lived with him. And if he don't live with you and he live with his mama or something, that's different. But if you are responsible for this boy and he living in your house, you are responsible to hold him accountable so that he don't end up stealing and getting killed. Your son, if he had not died, would have gone to prison for being illegally in possession of a firearm. Also, felony crime, committing theft while in possession of a stolen gun or an illegal gun. He would have gotten charged with multiple felonies at the age of 14 years old. And you stand up here and y'all gaslighting the public. Finish the clip.
I've talked to the sheriff tonight. We all asked for calm. We all asked everybody make sure that we celebrate Cyrus's life, that we make sure that his legacy continues like his life did. He ran away and he got shot in the back. Should not happen. Shouldn't have happened. And unfortunately, we're going to have to deal with the end result of it. Thank you.
All right. Just want to throw that out there for you. Speaking of law enforcement, y'all know I was talking about these cops from yesterday and the girl with the thing, getting that other cop in trouble. Then they firing the one cop for beating her. And what does New York City do? They go and promote a person to the position of sheriff that is literally anti-police. And I'm going to give him a fair shake. I'll let him come on this show because it's not like I don't have any connection with him. I had commented on his post when he wrote the book about police in America. I'm just going to give you my synopsis on why I think this is a bad pick, and then you're going to see why. This guy, Raymond, is one of those black people that want to be considered an activist. Therefore, he turned his back on the law enforcement profession. When I say turn his back, that means he's framing the career field that he was in as a racist, descendant from slave patrol type of a career. Because he did something he wasn't supposed to do, or I can't remember the scenario. He ended up getting fired or something. But I think he took it out on the department, and he has been, in my opinion, anti-New York City PD and projecting that the department is racist, and they're going to put him in charge of the sheriff's department. It's crazy. It bothers me, but we'll get to the bottom of this. Roll the clip.
Going down Zohran Mamdani's to-do list, the New York City mayor fired the controversial New York City sheriff Anthony Miranda, replacing him with NYPD whistleblower Edwin Raymond. Miranda's dismissal was expected, as Mamdani has often spoken about clearing his administration of the controversies from the previous Eric Adams administration. Raymond published a book, An Inconvenient Cop: My Fight to Change Policing in America, back in 2023. APB News caught up with the now former sheriff during Mamdani's swearing-in ceremony back in January. Miranda's tenure as sheriff was marked by controversy, particularly over his office's handling of illegal cannabis enforcement, as well as city investigators probing reports that the sheriff's office improperly seized evidence from unlicensed pot shops.
All right, so that's a little bit of the controversy with the previous sheriff. I don't know much about him, so I can't say I endorsed him or not. But now you're going to see the sentiment of the new gentleman they just selected. Listen to what he say about law enforcement, and I'll give you my synopsis of why I think he's full of sugar, honey, iced tea. Wrote a clip.
Much more complex than just simple individual racism. It's the racism that's interwoven in the system by the way of the enforcement quotas in Black and Hispanic communities.
But those cops are then being instructed and pressured to get the low-level arrest with the belief that it stops the more serious things from happening. There's absolutely no empirical evidence to support that. So many studies have been done. It's nonsense. There's no correlation between over-enforcement of innocuous infractions and a plummet in crime. But this is what a lot of police departments carry.
From slave patrol, some people feel this thing was never designed to work.
Wait a second.
Yeah.
It educates some okay. Maybe 2 or 3 people who've never heard about a slave patrol.
So slave patrol were basically militias, if you will, during the time when slavery was legal, whose job was to catch runaway slaves. And after the Civil War, many of them literally just rolled over into police departments.
Very likely I would have probably said abolish. Every now and then you get a good argument as to why abolition is probably the better answer. There are many reform measures that have failed because, one, it's not incentivized. White cop, black guy, racist, and racism was definitely involved. But what I saw was the embedded, lasting, systemic racism in the form of pressure for arrest and summonses.
Critical race theory not only starts with that, but it explains where implicit bias comes from.
Now, how in the funnel cake are you going to have this guy representing law enforcement? This guy is a lunatic in the sense of you cannot represent an agency or a career or I'm trying to think of the words to use with this, but you can't represent a career path. I don't know, the career path is not the word I want to use. But you can't represent a department in layman's terms where you think that the department and the actual profession is the word I want to use is rooted in racism. And then you're so nonsensical in your thought process of saying arresting for low-level crimes is somehow racist and it don't have a profound effect on the totality of outcomes when it comes to the proliferation of crime. It does. What stewhead thinks that letting people do low-level crimes all day long, saturating the city with crimes and violence and all this other stuff, that it doesn't lead to more crime? That's why you arrest these people now, because they're the ones that end up committing murder later on. These are the very ones that if you would have got them then, you wouldn't have to worry about the drug sales. You wouldn't have to worry about the next generation of young people growing up thinking that this is reasonable to do as a form of income. He's woke. You say critical race theory is stupidity. Slave patrol I wrote in my book, slave patrols have no connection to law enforcement. This is two different worlds. It's not even in the same sphere. But anyway, let's move on. A couple more clips about the Mamdani sheriff. Wrote a clip.
Mamdani set to name ex-cop who sued the New York Police Department to serve as the New York City sheriff. So Mamdani's going to appoint this prominent NYPD critic as New York City's new sheriff. I'll get your final reaction to that.
Public safety took a big hit today. Edwin Raymond is a complete fraud. He was a cop on paper, but only lasted 15 years. We need a crime fighter in the sheriff, who I work closely with to fight crime for the city. We don't need a social activist warrior who's totally against policing. Quite frankly, he wanted to abolish the police department at one time. So horrible pick, politics at play, and public safety once again will take a hit in New York City.
And I tell you what, as you see people begin to leave the agency and move on, they're literally running this city to the ground, economically, and now through public safety. I'm telling you, keep playing. These people are going to get jobs. These people are going to get jobs in law enforcement in other cities and other states that really value. This guy's an activist. He's not a police officer, in my personal opinion. All right, let's get to the next story. Because we're running low on time, I want to hit this Graham Plattner guy, because he's the epitome of the Democrat Party. These people are liars, they're evil, and all of the above. This guy is a blatant example of a Nazi. When I say Nazi, I'm not talking about Nazi from Germany. I'm talking about Nazi theology, the mental Nazi. Because this guy has a freaking tattoo on his chest, and they let him get away with it. If a Republican had a Nazi symbol or whatever the controversial symbol he had on his chest, they wouldn't let you get away with it. You'd never show your face in public again. But they're okay with this guy until he gets caught sexting and doing all this crazy stuff that they start to say, oh no, we're gonna back away from him. No, this is what y'all pride yourself on. This is what a lot of these people do, and they force the blame to the Republican side. Roll the clip.
The likely Senate Democratic nominee, Graham Plattner, is under fire tonight after he sent sexually explicit text messages to at least half a dozen women after he got married in 2023. The Maine oyster farmer and Marine Corps veteran called it gossip, but his own campaign confirmed the texts are real. His wife, Amy, had alerted campaign staff about the messages, worried they could be a liability in the race.
No marriage is perfect, and I don't want a perfect marriage. I want my marriage.
Plattner is not new to controversy after saying he didn't know a chest tattoo he got while drunk in 2007 was a recognized Nazi symbol. He had it covered up.
This far more represents who I am now.
In now deleted Reddit posts, he called himself a communist and said, "Why don't black people tip?" Many Democrats have been hoping Plattner could flip the Senate seat long held by Republican Susan Collins, a seat they need to win to take the Senate majority. But reaction among Democrats to the newest controversy is mixed.
Graham Plattner is running an extraordinarily strong campaign.
Yeah, I have concerns. That guy has questions to answer, and that's what campaigns are for.
Now the Democratic primary is just 8 days away, and Plattner is still poised to win. His top opponent, Democratic Governor Janet Mills, dropped out of the race. But as she reminded a local newspaper today, her name will still be on the ballot next week. Tony.
Caitlin, thank you very much.
Now let's put this in perspective real quick. They say that they are turning on him. They are passively turning on him. half of the Democrats are still kind of, oh, he got questions to answer. He has a lot more than just questions to answer. This dude was cheating on his wife. And then she gets on TV and say, I don't want a perfect marriage. I want a marriage where my husband is sexting other women. That's the marriage I always wanted. You know, just the stupidity of her and him. Democrats should be like, we hate this guy. But instead, they passively come out against them to save face. But listen to The View. They don't really come after. Listen to what they say on The View about. They should be rolling and flipping and spitting and crying on each other. They should be so mad that this guy represents the Democrat Party. But listen to what they say, roll it.
Controversies keep coming for Democratic Senate candidate Graham Planter on the heels of apologizing for a tattoo associated with Nazis, an offensive post about a wounded U.S. soldier. Now his wife, Amy Gertner, is responding to reports that she gave his campaign a heads up about her husband sending sexually explicit texts to several different women.
Horrible. There is no doubt that this guy,
Time out.
Shatner, is...
Put your sleeve, put that thing over your shoulder. You ain't sexy. What you doing? You ain't. That's for cute girls. That's for women with bodies and stuff. You put your arm back in this thing when you on the show. Roll the clip.
Flawed in many ways. This is different than the Eric Swalwell thing so far, because no women have come forward that I know of or that have been reported. We haven't seen the sex like we did with Swalwell, but it is disturbing and it is horrible. And why can't we do better? Why can't we have
it's not
better
worth it.
candidates?
It's not
Why do
worth
we have
compromising your morals and values and integrity. To be honest, his sexting is the least of my concerns with this
that's
guy.
what I thought.
Graham Plattner trashed a Purple Heart recipient, said he didn't deserve to live, defamed fallen Navy SEAL Chris Kyle, downplayed how hard it is to report sexual assault in the military, repeatedly used anti-gay slurs and homophobic posts as recently as 2021, called himself an avowed communist, and has a Nazi tattoo for 20 years that he's since covered up. This guy just seems like a guy of not very good character. And there are a lot of options in this country. And by the way, there are other paths for Democrats to win. Just win a different state. You need 4 seats. Look at Alaska. Look at Iowa. Look at Texas. Don't die on the hill of a guy who is...
And this is a woman who's supposed to be a Republican. She's wearing Republican face. She is not a Republican. He's a Democrat. Everybody on the panel is a Democrat. She's literally saying, this is how I want. She really wants them to win. And this, you should go look here and do it. Finish it.
Going to be a headache for you for years to come.
And not to make this political, because I'm usually not the one that does that, but watching that video of the wife saying, you know, don't spend energy on these ads. The problem with these ads is they
like
are
it is.
true.
This is
These character flaw. This isn't, Plattner has said, you know, he did it in form. I'm sorry, I didn't mean it. I've changed. This is a problem. The Purple Heart recipient, by the way, the video he insulted, was a man who took fire to save his team. And he said, this stupid guy should have died. It's only because they didn't have good aim that he's here. If you were capable of saying that at any time in your life, you've shown me who you are, and I heard you. This man should be nowhere near Congress.
Because I think all the allegations are true. The sexting with other women while married is definitely true, because his wife is the person that gave the messages to his campaign to give them a heads up. So the fact now that he's saying that part is not true.
I think she said that he had, she told
them.
Campaign,
but
we haven't seen messages.
But she disclosed it.
Right.
So why would she lie about that? So that part is true. He's also made racist remarks about against African Americans. So he's a cheater. He's an anti-Semite, because the fact that he had that tattoo for 20 years and didn't know what it was is a lie. So he's a liar, a racist, an anti-Semite.
Homophobe.
He's a homophobe. So he's all the things. And character does matter. I need to add that he said that he sent the racist things because he was suffering from PTSD from his tour in Afghanistan. I know a lot of soldiers that have PTSD that aren't racist.
Listen, you know, who knows what is what? But I'd like the quality of the people we are dealing with to be better. And again, we can.
I swear they got way more energy for Donald Trump. They hate Donald Trump more than they hate this guy. And this guy has a track record of proving admitted infractions. I don't believe in homophobic, and racism. I like, that stuff is watered down. They say that every time. And anti-Semite. What did he say? Because he had this on it. Stop. All right, Dan Bongino has something to say, and then we're going to move to the next story. Roll it.
Let's start with Graham Plattner, Bongino. What do you think of that guy?
Yeah. By the way, I miss a good old-fashioned campaign scandal. Remember, like, a binder full of women's resumes and Bill Clinton, like, you smoke a doobie, and it was, like, a big deal. Now we got a guy who's got, like, and I love, like, the left-wing media, like, yeah, well, it resembles a Nazi tattoo. Well, the reason it resembles a Nazi tattoo is because it's a freaking Nazi tattoo, okay? Jesse, I've got a lot of tattoos. Some of them are really bad. One of them's actually a cover job because the one beneath it was so bad. I promise you, the one beneath it was never a Nazi tattoo. And when I walked in and said, I don't like this tattoo, can I get a cover job? He said, hey, you either need that big black dot or an eagle. He never said, I've got an idea. How about a big black Nazi tattoo? Like, that's not a thing. The fact that this guy is even a thing speaks to possibly the worst slate of Democrat candidates, forget Democrats, candidates I have ever seen. This guy's hogging all the air out of the room, but the truth is, you got the vegan cisgender guy in Texas, a freaking vegan, where you can get hurt in Texas for arguing that you like extra moist over regular brisket, not arguing over like, hey man, I don't eat meat in Texas. Like, are you crazy? Did you ever hear like Sam Houston, Jim Bowie, you know, Davy Crockett, that little thing like the Alamo? Like, they don't screw around. And then you've got the guy in Michigan, Abdul Al-Sayed, who's running around campaigning with Hassan Piker, who was like, yeah, you know, the whole rape on October 7th thing doesn't really bother me too much. Like, really, I miss the days of an old scandal about smoking a doobie. We need those back.
I love what he said. I want to do something with the show. We're gonna end with Cam Higby, and I want to go and get the. I think it's the. I want to talk about the freaking Atlanta. No, hold on. I want to talk about the trampoline park. We got to talk about this trampoline park, just real quick. I just had to I had to throw it in here. Back to the first video, we talk about the young boy acting a fool and stealing and having a gun, and everybody covering for him. He didn't do nothing. He didn't even do nothing. He's innocent, and he got a gun at 14 years old, and daddy wasn't nowhere to be found until it's the press conference time where he could sue the police, or he try to sue somebody to get some money. All right, now this is another one. These hood rats are out of control. And don't tell me black people ain't the only ones doing it. Come on, roll the clip.
Y'all better come pick up y'all kids from Urban Air right now. I pulled up and there was like hundreds of kids piling out the door. I ran inside and kids were just falling on the floor and like trying to run out like a stampede. Seen the cops running. It was crazy.
Jessica Drinkwater was on her way to Urban Air on Airport Highway Saturday night to pick up her kids. She says they go every week, but this week's trip was an experience she won't forget.
There was a bunch of fights. Like, all the kids kept fighting. It's all over the place. They had
Black
posted it
people.
all over social media. All the kids did.
Drinkwater described the night as chaotic as kids raced out the door, saying for some, it was a moment of panic trying to find their children. Toledo police responded to the scene shortly after.
Be advised, we're getting a call from Urban Air. Code 3 fight.
Drinkwater said this experience has made her reconsider if she will let her kids go back on weekends.
It was emotional. Probably won't let them go during, the weekend when a lot of
black
kids will be
people-
there. And that was something for them to do. A few bad seeds are going to ruin it for
A few bad
everybody.
seeds.
I went to.
The whole place was packed with thuggery. And I'm saying this, let me be very clear. Not all black people act like this. I would argue that majority of black people don't act like this. But the ones that do need to be called out, need to be exposed. It's crazy because a white person is thinking in their mind, just like every decent black person is thinking in their mind, I ain't going there. That ghetto is you know what over there. They over there fighting and shooting, man. I ain't going to that Urban Air. I'm going to go to Urban Air where the white people at. Come on. Roll the clip. We got another clip. Look, they fighting and everything. With shiesties on. Diversity and inclusion. I got another one. Come on, play the other one.
What's going on? Can you follow me? My director is asking for an officer on the trampolines up here. Right there.
Even in the one with the white people, there was black people doing the fighting. I thought my producer set me up, and I was gonna see one with white people fighting. Then you get in there, and it's black people the ones getting arrested and fighting. I'm only using this as an example of somebody needs to say something, and it needs to be called out. Because as much as people spend time talking about white people and racism and Jim Crow and the system is against the man, we need to be talking about why are our young people acting like this? How are these people going to get jobs, and how are they going to flourish and prosper in America if they're getting caught doing felonious crimes and thinking that it's okay to fight at a trampoline park? And I'm gonna say this too, because I grew up in that community. So I know this happened, and I remember like a PTSD living in a community like that. I'll say this real quick. I never remember going to Terrion's birthday party. Terrion had a birthday party at the YMCA. Everybody trying to have a good time. Bloods and Crips jump of blood, shooting in the parking lot. Blah, 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 blah. We had a I literally never went out in college because of that experience. I was terrified of getting shot or something crazy happening because people were doing too much. I remember me, my brother, Deontay, was my brother's best friend in the car, bullets hitting the ground, choo, 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 choo. And I'm like, we're gonna die. And it was a two-seater, and they had to let the seat back. I had to crawl in the back because people don't know how to act. All right, let me get to Cam Higby real quick. And I really want to talk about this other incident, but I'm running out of time because I got to get a haircut. Because I didn't manage my time properly today, y'all. I'm sorry. And being an entrepreneur like I am, I got all this stuff to do, so I got to do all this. Okay, so I want to get to Cam Higby because I interviewed Cam Higby, and I'm going to show you guys the interview because I talked to him, was able to expose this craziness and hear it from the horse's mouth. So I want to show you a couple clips about what happened to Cam Higby the other day. Obviously, he was supported by Blackline, and the guys did their thing. They did the best they can. They kept him safe. He survived. We won at the end. One of the guys got hit in the head with a rock. That's how crazy these people are. But I want to show a little bit of what happened to Cam Higby, the chaos and confusion, and then I'm going to show you guys the interview that we did right before the show. So let's start with the first clip that probably made the leftists extremely mad, which he has every right to do this. He has the freedom of speech. Roll the clip.
When prisoners call their loved ones frantically that they're being fed maggots,
They call their loved ones. How'd they get access to a phone? If the conditions are so bad, how'd they get a phone, bro?
Oh my God!
Holy shit!
I can't.
Oh my God! Fogged again! Fogged again, dude! How'd they get
so
phones?
stupid.
How'd they get phones
This
in
is
there,
so
bro?
stupid.
The conditions are so bad. How are they calling their loved ones? You're a schmuck. We got some real. Holy shit! We got some real things.
Well, anyway, the subtitles are wrong. We didn't make the subtitles. They were wrong. Some of the words that he said was not the words that he said. But anyway, this is the kind of mentality that these people have. This detention center, these leftist nut jobs who are probably getting paid to do this, and bricks and rocks, and the police do nothing with their sorry self. And I'm not talking about the individual cops because some of them probably want to do something. But the people at the top of the food chain are absolutely feckless. How do you let your city get overrun and let these people do things that are crimes? It's not like they're just doing something and you don't like it. It's a crime to damage property. That's called criminal damage. If I went out right now and threw a brick through a police window, I'm going to jail. But if these leftists do it, they're totally fine. And all they do is say, we do it in a mob, and we don't go to jail. So they just commit crimes in a mob. They lie about these facilities, saying that it's all, they got people detained and all this, and the dude got on there and said that they called in their family members. Shut the front door. Here's a little bit more of it. Roll it.
Give me all my They have both of them. I have one. Which one? Green case or white case? Goldie, no, both guys, look at my white case. They do, I don't know. Guys, let's get out of here. We gotta go. Time to
All right, so they end up letting Cam into the facility there. As you can see, these people are throwing water bottles that are frozen, which is a brick. They're throwing bricks, hit one of the security guys. You see one of them in there. I can't disclose who all was security, so y'all don't know how we roll. But one of them got hit in the head with a rock or something like that. And these people are committing felony crimes. This is not protesting. When you throw a brick at somebody's head, that's called attempted murder. That's called aggravated assault. And if you do something that can cause serious bodily injury or death, that necessitates or is reasonable to use deadly force against that person. So if Cam had a gun and decided to, and I'm not saying he should or shouldn't, he got to determine that based on his own life. But if he had a gun and he started shooting at people who were throwing bricks at his head, he would be 100% justified at it. But you know what would happen in our justice system because the feckless leadership in law enforcement in many of these places is they'll arrest him. When the law states that he has the freedom to be there to say what he want to say, just like they do. But then when you go and throw a brick at somebody's head, they have a right to defend themselves. You don't get a chance to say, I don't like what you have to say, so I'm going to throw bricks to make you run away. That's not how this works. You throw a brick at that person, they can defend themselves because they're defending their constitutional right to freedom of speech. Anyway, I think that's the gist of it. I'm kind of running low on time. I want you guys to hear the interview because you saw a little bit about what happened, but you're going to see more from Cam Higby himself because we do an interview. Let's roll that interview. All right, ladies and gentlemen, like I told you, we just watched a lot of content, and I told you guys and showed you what happened to Cam Higby just recently, and I now have him here to do the interview with me to kind of walk you through what you just saw and the perspective of what happened and what's going on, generally speaking, in independent journalists who are going out and doing God's work. And so help me welcome to the show, Cam Higby. Cam, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me, Brandon.
Hey, man, you're one of my favorites, man. I mean, you're out there doing the right thing, exposing these fraudsters. We showed a video before this interview of one of these weird, woke retards doing some interview, and you came in and just blasted him, man. It was like, this is what I'm saying. They're lying, they're doing this, and they're so cowardice and weak, man. But they like to team up and try to bludgeon you. But I want you to walk through my audience your experience that day. They obviously saw a little bit of the clips of them throwing rocks at you, and you had to be rescued into the I think the ICE facility, or they would have potentially mobbed you guys. And just give us a rundown of why you were there, what you were trying to cover, and how it all went south.
Yeah, so I'm an independent journalist. I'm on the ground for a lot of these riots, protests, stuff like that. I like to interview people and especially document the committing of crimes. Big popular lie on the left that these people actually aren't violent and they're not committing crimes. So I serve to prove that that's false, that they are actually committing crimes. They are actually violent. But I think that we'd be at a loss if I didn't start with how they even got the tools that they carried out all of this violence with in the first place. Like Governor Mickey Sherrill of New Jersey thought of this fantastic idea of setting up a First Amendment protected free speech zone. Now, I think that's BS in the first place because First Amendment protected free speech zone is everywhere on the street. What's the problem? They're not doing First Amendment. They're attacking people. Yeah. So what should have happened is they should have declared unlawful assembly, and all these people should have been kicked out and arrested. But instead, they set up these barricades. This is where the protesters have to be. This is your 1A zone. Total BS. I told the state troopers when they were setting this up, I said, you know, nobody's going to use that, right? I have a lot of experience at these riots. And I said, not a single person is going to use that First Amendment zone. And he goes, well, I guess we'll see, won't we? And I go, okay, I guess we will. Skip ahead an hour. Nobody uses them. What ends up happening is the police line up with riot shields, and the protesters dismantle the First Amendment zone. They take the orange fences and the concrete blocks the state police set up, and they use them against the state police, and they use them against ICE. So then they eventually ended up using them against me when they robbed me.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about that, because they try to characterize you and others as going and being antagonists, right? They go, oh, you guys had no business. And I've seen the cops do it, and it boils my blood as a former police officer. They go, well, you were here to cause trouble. We have the freedom of speech and assembly. We have the freedom to report on these things. Mainstream media can do it. They can do it. But then when you go, they try to frame it as if you're antagonizing. So just run us down of, how what actually happened, what were you doing there specifically, and how they end up robbing you.
Yeah, I mean, I was, some of the things that I do could be viewed as antagonistic, sure. Like filming people's faces when they commit crimes, but I have zero tolerance for people smashing police vehicles.
Right.
I think that when people do that, they should go to jail. And so I try to do my best to collect evidence and make sure that they do go to jail. Unfortunately, I'm a little black-pilled on it because nobody's going to jail, but I'm very much done with defending myself in terms of people calling me an antagonist and you show up just to antagonize and rile people up. That's not my intention when I show up there. My intention is not to antagonize people, but literally anything could be construed as antagonism. So let's assume that I am there to antagonize people. Okay, who cares?
Right.
Do I have a right to show up and antagonize people? I actually do.
Yeah.
That's not my goal, obviously, but I do have a right to do that if that was my goal, as long as I'm not touching anybody. So anyway, I had been filming a bunch of people committing crimes, especially using the barricades against the police, and they were blocking the street with the barricades the state police brought in, and they actually ended up blocking EMS with giant concrete blocks in the middle of the street and these fences. And so I filmed them all doing that, and I'm like, this is life or death. Somebody could be dying right now, and here we have an EMS SUV and an ambulance stuck in the middle of the street because there's a bunch of idiots blocking the road. And then a prison vehicle came. Half of the facility is like prison workers and contractors. 2 ladies in this little van, and they're stopped in the road, and they detained the vehicle. This is a government contractor detained in the middle of the street by violent chaos agents that are allowed to run those streets. And so I was filming them doing this, and they ended up trying to smash up the car with the ladies inside by hitting it with the fences and stuff like that. And so I'm just filming this, and then I saw somebody take up one of those concrete blocks at the state police, so graciously gifted them and smashed the windshield of an ICE vehicle, and I chased after the guy because I wanted to film his face, help collect evidence, and he kind of ran into the crowd where all the Antifa guys were, and they closed ranks around him, and he ran back further, so I couldn't get to him. So as soon as they closed ranks, I stopped. I'm not gonna go fist fight people to get this guy's face. He got away. That's fine. In the process of that, I dropped this phone out of my pocket. You can see it in the video. So this is phone number 1. So I dropped phone number 1 out of my pocket. I'm live streaming on phone number 2. So I go over with one of my security guards provided by Blackline, and I tried to retrieve phone number 1. I didn't know where it was. I knew it fell out in the street somewhere. One of my other security guards had picked it up. So he had it. I didn't know that. So I'm looking for it. I'm actually looking for the phone number on this of this phone because I don't have it memorized. I only use it for filming, so that we can call it and be like, "Hey, I lost my phone." I'm not going to tell Antifa; they're not going to give it to me.
Right.
So best bet is calling the phone and seeing if somebody will come meet us somewhere who has picked it up. In the process of that, I'm holding my phone. Again, I'm on that phone looking for the phone number to this phone. Phone number. I'm on phone number 2. I'm not filming. I'm not live streaming. I've minimized the live stream. It's not rolling. They think I'm filming them. And so several of them come up, stop filming us, film I, stop filming us, film I, that they're the problem. I'm like, guys, I'm not filming you. Don't worry. I'm just trying to figure something out here. One of them comes up and he rips the tripod with the phone on it out of my hand. It's like a $50 tripod. You've got $200 mics on it. And of course, brand new iPhone 17 Pro Max attached to the end of it. So they, I ended up punching the guy who took it in the face, trying to get him to drop it. He fell over. The guy behind him grabbed it. They smashed it. They then closed in on me. I had to spray a couple of them. And then I ended up not being able to see myself because I sprayed some of the mace got on.
And it blew back.
I don't know that I'm not sure now that I look at the footage that it blew back. It got on the umbrella and the guy was like opening and closing it in my face.
Oh yeah.
So it was just bouncing back on me. So then Nick Sorter came in and basically grabbed me, took me behind one of the ICE vehicles, and then we basically pleaded with HSI to let us inside of Delaney Hall.
Wow. And you had mentioned Blackline. How has Blackline been for you? Because and people probably already understand this. I started Blackline with the thought in mind of protecting, because the government won't do it. The state won't protect you. They'll protect them. If you went out there and you just start smashing these people up, they will take you and put you in jail, and you'll be in there without having a speedy trial. And they'll call you a terrorist and a Nazi. But they can beat the crap out of people and bludgeon them and try to kill you. And our own government, who is sworn, I took the oath, to protect you and your constitutional right to freedom of speech and assembly. And so, I wanted to have Blackline because I wanted to protect people like yourself and others who are doing your job. I just want you to explain real quick, what's your thoughts on Blackline? How has it been helpful, or has it been helpful? And how did Blackline work that day that all of this is going on?
Well, I mean, I think in a lot of cases, Blackline has been life-saving. I can't really go out without getting attacked. I mean, I've tried the undercover thing. Most of my work in the beginning of my career was all undercover. I mean, I was doing fat suits, colored contacts, anything to disguise my identity, and it doesn't work. And when they find out, I almost got killed while I was undercover. When they find out, they're even more mad because you've been next to them filming them the whole time and they didn't realize it. So they get really mad in that case. If I show up with no disguise, they also get mad because they notice it's me, they recognize me, and then they attack me. There's not really an escape. So having security guards with me when I go out is extremely helpful for a couple different reasons. One, I don't have to fear as much. And two, I can actually do the job I'd like to do, which is having interactions with people and talking to people, hearing what they have to say, because that's what the audience wants to see. They want to know what's going on inside these people's minds. If I don't have security, there's no way I'm going to be able to interview people. And there was an interview I did yesterday. It's published on my YouTube now. The two Blackline guys are standing next to my camera, and I'm interviewing this guy, member of the Black Panther Party. They're chairman of the Black Panther Party in New Jersey, and he says if that guy wasn't here and that guy wasn't here, I would have smacked the the shit out of you.
Yeah.
I don't know if we bleeped that, but
no,
that's what he said.
Yeah, that's crazy, and it's crazy for two reasons. Good thing that Blackline exists, and I'm glad that we can support you, and with the audience helping, then it's no cost to you, which is incredible, because it's not like y'all out here running it up, making a lot of money. And I don't think there's any way with what you do, the expenses you have, that you can even pay for security like this, because two of those guys are not cheap, especially in a high-risk situation, doing it all day. But what I guess moving on from that, and if people want to support you and they want to support, can you give them a link to you? And we'll put a link to Blackline if people want to support your security. But how can people follow and support you in other ways? Just let them know real quick.
Yeah. To your point, by the way, there's no way I'd ever be able to support or pay for two security guards. But YouTube, X, Instagram, it's all just at Cam Higby, at CamHigby, Cam Higby.
Perfect. And we'll put all those links in the description section. Just one question I have for you, because like, what do your family think about this? Because, you know, it's not just you, man. You're making a huge sacrifice to get the news out there, but I know that the family is not there. They see videos and they're like, "Are you okay?" And they may be a little worried about it, but how does your family react to this?
Yeah, well, I actually haven't been able to contact my mother because my phone is gone, unfortunately. So I mean, that's an unfortunate part there. But my girlfriend, not happy. It's definitely, I mean, there's definitely people worry. I mean, it's just you go out. These people, an important part I think I left out of the story is they were throwing concrete bricks at us. That's why. So I couldn't see. After the splashes from the umbrella, the mace came back on me. I was starting to not be able to see, and they're throwing frozen water bottles and bricks and all kinds of stuff, and those frozen water bottles might as well be a rock.
Yeah.
And Nick Sorter came and grabbed me, and he's like, "You need to get back here," and he took me to cover. But you can see even there's a couple frozen water bottles that zip right past my head. I didn't even notice it. I was trying to open a Sudicon wipe so I could wash my eyes out, but you can see multiple times I almost got beamed in the head with hard objects.
Yeah, and it's crazy, and I think Elon Musk commented on your post, and these people are committing crimes in broad daylight. You know, a situation like that should be shut down immediately. These people are going past freedom of speech. They're going past the right to assemble. They're going past all of these things. They're now becoming violent mobs attempting to murder people, knowingly and intentionally throwing a blunt object at the head, face of any person, especially outside of the realm of self-defense. You are now looking at a deadly force situation. Like, these people are creating a deadly force situation. Deadly force is articulated based on serious bodily injury or death. So if what they're doing could cause you serious bodily injury, that is enough to justify a response of deadly force, and that's enough to be arrested for a person using deadly force against you. Attempted murder is on, aggravated assault is on the charts. I mean, all of these people should be charged with these crimes. I think even one of the security guards, one of the Black Line guys, got hit in the head with one of those rocks. And it is asinine to me that these things continue this way. But to your point, and I guess moving on, because I think we run a long time, you know, what do you want to tell the public? If you could say anything and you had everybody in America watching, especially the people that matter the most, what's one thing that you want to convey to them to sum up all of this stuff that we've talked about?
The protests are not peaceful, despite what the Attorney General and the governor tell you. Delaney Hall is not a concentration camp. I've been inside of it. It's more like a country club. This can't stand, right? 20 years ago, this would not have it would not have stood. There would not be violent criminals in the streets of the United States burning stuff. They stole a bunch of tires from local shops and lit them on fire in front of Delaney Hall. This would not have been happening 20 years ago. There's not a chance that any law enforcement agency would have tolerated it. The deputy mayor came down last night, and she's like, "I just want to come do kumbaya and say a prayer." And they were all shouting, you know, "F you, kill yourself" at her. The deputy mayor, she came down thinking she was on their side.
Yeah.
This is the classic Democrat moment, and she's going to go home and tell everybody those protesters are just so peaceful after they shouted "kill yourself" all night at her. So
that's insane. Yeah. But man, thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking your time. I know you're a busy guy. And I would ask you where you going next, but I know I don't want to disclose your locations. But I look forward to supporting you, man. You have, you know, my support, all my fan support. Keep doing God's work, man, and I'll keep doing my best to support you. If you guys are watching this and you want to support Cam, the links are in the description section. The links to go follow him, the links to Black Line, and everything else to support Cam. So y'all go and support Cam. God bless you, brother. Keep up the good work, man, and we're going to keep supporting you.
Thanks, man.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I told you, another incredible interview, and we had to bring Cam on to talk about these things because they're so crazy, and to hear it from the person who was actually there and not the naysayers is invaluable.